Hey Josh, it's Fox, and this is a well-read book. But we're not going to talk about this today because I got something better. Roll the intro.
Ready?
You ever get to that point at the weird age of whatever the hell I am and you start noticing little things in the stuff you've been watching your whole life? Like for instance, that the guy who played V in V for Vendetta was the same guy who played Agent Smith in The Matrix. And also Elrond. And also a woman. It's the same moment that you realize that this guy is actually Australian. It's about the same age that you start realizing that you like the second Matrix movie a lot more than the first. It's the same age that you realize the Wachowskis sisters, who wrote The Matrix, also wrote the V for Vendetta movie. It's also the same age that you watch Cloud Atlas for the 50th time in a row and only now realize that the movie was directed by the Wachowski sisters. Here's the thing. An eerily recent while ago, I lost my marbles and ended up spending an entire year of my life as a religious dude in the Christian faith for largely the same reason that most people do, besides getting to marry up instead of across or down. The world got too complicated, and I was getting too complicated to handle it by myself. So I needed a specific loving purview of the world for a moment's sanity. Come to think of it, that's right around the time I started opening random emails, leaving my Bluetooth and location tracking on, and just mindlessly pressing the accept button anytime a set of terms and conditions crossed my path. Accept. And it fits that it took a neurobiologist friend of mine to smack me upside the head with some sense. And just like that, life became dark, hopeless, and complicated again. Just like the second Matrix movie. Ah, the parallels. So, like most people who lose their faith as quickly as they find it, which in my case was so drastic and pathetic that I got a case of metaphysical shaken baby syndrome, I swung way the other way and decided that I'd go nowhere when I die. That was a depressing week. Now, was it liberating? No. Was I excited to finally be free of religion? No. Did I experience that gushy, throbbing urge to spank into fake nudes of Charles Darwin and Richard Dawkins? No. Was I excited to finally live my life without limits? No, because to quote Hoffer, and as my ankle bracelet and fridge full of rotting garbage will attest, unless a man has talents to make something of himself, freedom is an irksome burden. So instead of sucking it up like the buttercup I ain't, I went back to my old philosophy textbooks. Then, after realizing why I gave up studying philosophy in the first place, that's when I crawled back to my flask. And I finally spiraled into a strange cathartic binger where I just sat in a dark room watching V for Vendetta and The Matrix on repeat. Over and over and God, bro. It's like blowing your face off with a hallucinogenic mushroom shotgun that chambers buckshot nasties made entirely of hopes, dreams, and lye soap. That is, until I finally remembered Cloud Atlas. Josh, as someone who absolutely abhors the human race, it might not surprise you to know that I have a few pet peeves about my fellow man. But here's the biggest one. When people say, but I'm only one person, what can I do? Hey Josh, you know who's just one person? Martin Luther King Jr. You know who else? Margaret Hamilton, the woman who wrote, by herself, the entire code for the Apollo 11 missions. By herself. Know who else is just one person? Chesty Puller, the Marine who won the Navy Cross 5 times. Also Mary Curie, the first person to win the Nobel Peace Prize twice. Also Jesus. Now what did Jesus do, you might ask? He saved your soul, Josh. Have some fucking respect. Here's a few other people who are just one person. Literally every person on the damn planet. We're all just one person, just like you, just like me, and I realize that some of us suffer from depression or anxiety, and some of us are getting kicked in the ass by the 9-to-5 grind, or are struggling with poverty, or are receiving no support whatsoever from our communities, and some of us are trying to hold ourselves back from the brink of some pretty permanent solutions every waking hour of every day. And you know what? I think Winston Churchill, a depression sufferer himself, said it best when he said, "We shall draw from the heart of suffering itself the means of inspiration and survival." How many of you can honestly say, regardless of how much life absolutely incontrovertibly sucks beyond bloody belief, that if you saw a 16-year-old single parent struggling to hold a baby in an arm and open a stroller with another, you wouldn't march right over there and help? You may not be able to make your world brighter, but damn it if you aren't going to try to brighten up someone else's. It's a big world, and sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees, especially when it's nighttime and the forest is filled with hungry wolves. But when situations for actions present themselves, I have yet to meet the just one woman or just one man that isn't a just one hero in the making. Here's another person who's just one person. The depression sufferer or the anxiety-ridden person who sees a problem like sex trafficking in the Native American community, or the imprisonment of female journalists in Iran, or the ritual mutilation of young boys in Uganda. And then that person says, I'm just one person, and I've got too much on my plate. Fuck it, let's see who wants to go with me. These people will go on with very little cash in their pockets, even less support, and absolutely zero respect to cast the nets on the other side of the boat. And you know who else sometimes decides to throw caution to the wind? A bunch of other just one persons, all with their own individual struggles and all with the same carpe diem motherfucker mentality. If you get enough sad, lonely people together, I promise you, Josh, someone is bound to have a good idea. Because misery and excellence both love company, and none of us is as dumb as all of us. Bob Goff, the author of Love Does, once said, "It has always seemed to me that broken people get used more. It's probably because God has more pieces to work with." And I can think of no better examples of brokenness in action than the Wachowskis sisters who, in Cloud Atlas, had an evil slave owner state, "No matter what you do, it will never amount to anything but a single drop in a limitless ocean." Only to have his abolitionist son reply, "But what is an ocean but a multitude of drops?" Josh, I will see you on Monday. If you come visit me, and if you do, please bring food. There you are, little guy. Who keeps Daddy warm at night? Who helps him when he can't remember the name of the girl he fell in love with who got in a car accident 10 years ago? Oh. Wait, what? Oh, no way, dude. Okay. Oh, hey, Josh, it's me, Fox.